Radio 1. Now it's time for The Poetry Programme. And if you've ever wanted to contribute to a poem on Twitter, now's your chance.
This week on the Poetry Programme, students all over Ireland have been performing poetry aloud.
Oh, I can fake and I can fable, I can fiddle, fib and fumble, glibly gamble with you, Lord.
And Christodulus Macris invites us all to contribute to a poem on Twitter.
It's an example of mass collaboration poetry, it's an example of curated poetry and of algorithmic poetry.
You can contact us on Twitter at PoetryProgRTE by emailing poetry@rte.ie, or you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/RTE Poetry Programme. Poetry Aloud is an annual poetry speaking competition open to post-primary students all over Ireland. This year's competition attracted a record 1,805 entrants, but by finals day last week, those 1,805 students had been whittled down to just 36 finalists. Julian Clancy went along to find out more about the competition.
Oh, I can fake and I can fable, I can fiddle, fib and fumble, glibly gamble with you, Lord. And tell me, boys, who better able?
My name is Moira Cardiff and I work for Poetry Ireland, coordinating the Poetry Aloud competition with my colleague in the National Library, Breda Sullivan.
So what exactly is Poetry Aloud?
Poetry Aloud is a poetry speaking competition for secondary school students held to the whole island of Ireland. We have regional heats in October, semi-finals in the National Library in November, and today is the big day, the final. From today, we had a lot of Yeats poems, and the different interpretations are just wonderful, and the different accents, it's just great to hear it.
And this year is very much it's the focus on Yeats.
Yeah. We had The Rose Tree for the juniors. We had What Then for the intermediates, and in memory of Eva Gore-Booth for the seniors.
My name is Alice McGorian and I am from Assumption Grammar School in Ballyhinch, County Down.
What kind of person do you think Yeats was, and what do you think you've learned about his personality?
I think with Yeats especially, you kind of have to just be him. Like, you can't just say a Yeats poem and not inhabit the character, because he was just such a strange person. Thought he was great, but I mean he was, so you can kind of get away with that. Kind of a poetry genius. But I feel a connection to Yeats. I feel it, so I'm glad I did it.
The second round, they have a poem that they choose themselves from anthologies that we recommend. So it can be anything. So the second poem really, sets the standard, really.
Anne Shaw by Paul Muldoon. When the master was calling the roll at the primary school in college lands, you were meant to call back Anne Shaw and raise your hand as your name occurred.
My name's Geraldine Higgins and I was one of the judges in the final of the Poetry Aloud 2015 competition.
Anne Shaw, meaning here and now, all present and correct, was the first word of Irish I spoke.
What we're looking for is really a combination of a really strong presence from the student on stage and a sense that they're interpreting and delivering the poem to an audience, not in a theatrical way, but in a way that really conveys the meaning of the poem and their own sense of it. They have to feel it to be convincing. You can't really fake it. So that's why I think this competition is just so wonderful.